speaking of phishing and the different things the tool will do, I'll ask Brendan to show us kind of what it looks like to deal with phishing from the employee side.
And by phishing, we're talking about an email that someone's trying to get you
not to be confused with the actual phishing we did a few weeks ago. This is the phishing campaign.
Correct. So there's an example one right here. So I'm logged in as Michael Scott, and there's a low balance alert for their account. So I think this is obviously phishing, but maybe everyone doesn't, right? So if they're looking at this and decide, okay, well, I'm nervous about my bank stuff, I'm just gonna go ahead and click that. They're gonna get brought to a page that explains like, hey, this is a phishing simulation. Here are all the things that can, go wrong if I click a phishing link. Here are the, some simple steps for identifying phishing emails. And there's a little video that goes into detail for all that. It's less than 10 minutes, reasonably short. And then explains like, hey, this is something that your company had set up and so on. So that is definitely a real handy way to do it, and it lets because in the real world, if this had been an actual phishing email, they click the button and they're basically opening themselves up and the company to all of these threats. Obviously, the scariest one being ransomware.
Yep, that's good. So if you do fail, it's going to impact your ESS score. But we're simultaneously providing you with the whys, the risks, the why you shouldn't do this, as well as the training to the corrective action, if you will.
Correct. And then you touched on the training reminders. They also send out training reminders, and that's a configurable thing. But so this is an example welcome email for when it first gets set up. How to log in and configure everything. Whenever we set it up, we have a email that says, this is the email address it's going to be coming from, so they don't get a, security awareness phishing email that's real.
So how many different flavors? Like, it's not always going to be a low balance alert, right? It's not going to be the same thing every time. How many different flavors of those kind of emails can?
Let's see. I think currently it's somewhere between 500 and 600.
Different types.
Different types of scenarios that the simulation will go through, and you also have the option to reuse those scenarios or not reuse those scenarios, add new ones automatically, and so you can actually, there's another one right here. There's a tax refund thing, which was in the general vicinity of when tax day was. So, but you'll get them for Microsoft. Or Google or whatever email flavor you're using, you're going to get alerts or phishing simulations for all of that.
And you can
they all end up the same way.
And my understanding is we can also toggle the difficulty levels. What would be some examples of something being more difficult than easy?
So like one that would be more difficult is if you have, so we'll go over to Dwight's email here. This one is rated as hard. So this one, it's got the logo for Google. You got the big red text here. You got the icon that Google uses whenever you're on a phishing page. So it's, doing more things to, kind of increase how legitimate it looks. And that's the same thing attackers do, right? They'll get an actual email from Microsoft for, resetting your password, and they'll just change some of the language, change some of the links in it. And so that way, it, unless you're actively going and looking at the things you would learn about in the micro trainings, you're not going to notice that.
Yeah, that one looks pretty good.
Yep.
And what you want is your employees to see this and say, I'm suspicious. So I'm either going to, call my IT provider, or I'm confident this is bad. I don't have a Google account, and mark it as spam. And those kind of actions too help elevate a score. We talked a lot about taking your score down, but taking the correct actions with your email actually helps bring your score up too. It's not just the training.
Yeah. And I've heard some of our clients, their folks will say, I didn't want to bother you with what I thought was spam or phishing. But, in reality, that's what we're here for, right? We want to help you guys be as protected as possible. So we definitely want them to reach out.
I tell them point blank. I said, I would rather you call us about that then call us to drop everything and come save you from a ransomware infection.
Right.
And nobody disagrees.
Yep. Like, I mean, determining if something is spam or not, like including the phone call is probably less than 5 minutes. And that's a lot easier than, multiple days and, north of six figures for the ransom nowadays too.
Oh yeah.
All right. So the micro trainings and everything are definitely where this shines the most. They're all, relevant, modern, and pretty quick to watch. So we'll just bring up a AI spam related one. And so let's see, that's 3 minutes and 4 questions. They're just true or false. And that improves your security score, for each training you take and for each little micro quiz at the end. And that improves your security score. And then obviously, it's going to go into things like how to spot phishing, drive-by downloads. So like when you're on a website and the ad download button is bigger than the actual download button, and then you click the larger one because that seems intuitive, and then you download something that you didn't intend. So they have a long list of them. So there's 80 different micro trainings to choose from, and as you can see, new ones get added on a regular basis.